On this page, we're going to look at student engagement strategies. These relate back to what we talked about with brain filter, what and when to filter in information to make sure that we're learning, and also keeping in mind that student attention span. So a few things that can help with student engagement, if you look at those first three bullets, just having students stand up. So when it's a transition time, or if we're doing some activities, maybe to get some exit tickets or some formative assessment at the end of a lesson, just standing up increases blood flow and oxygen levels to the brain and increases brain function. Using movement during learning activities creates another pathway to long-term memory, and using movement to indicate answers or understanding increases attention and transfer as well. So having students stand up and make a T for a statement that is true and an F for a statement that is false. I usually say something like I'll just ask a question, what's or a true false question. The sky is blue, true or false? And I'll count to three. 1, 2, 3. And I'll have students put their hands out, make a T for true on 3, or have them cross their arms in front of them to make an F for false. And so that's a way to do a little formative assessment to get my students standing up, increasing blood flow and oxygen levels to the brain, and using movement as a way to get their attention, as a way to tune in. This is something important to listen to and participate in. Using movement for indicating multiple choice answers. I have put in the corners of the classroom, labeled them A, B, C, or D, and counted backwards from 10 to walk safely to the corner that fits your answer. So we get that blood flow. We're participating. We got that movement that helps them participate, listen, and learn. We've also done A, B, C, and D. On the count of 3, put your hands on your head if it's A, shoulders for B, hips for C, and knees for D. And so we'll count 1, 2, 3, put your hands to indicate the answer, and we see if everybody has the same answer, if we have lots of varying understanding. So great formative assessment, also a way to get the blood flow going, get that prefrontal cortex engaged, and have students be participating, more likely to participate. Agreeing and disagreeing. Some of the strategies for movement are stand up if you agree, squat down if you disagree. Move to the left side of the room if you agree, the right side if you disagree. So just different strategies that can help with formative assessment and also keep your students engaged and learning. So when you're transitioning from one lesson to the other, we do things like breathing and stretching, reaching for the ceiling, bending down, touching our toes. We might have a ball that we throw that is a signal for catching and answering questions, or if someone's holding the ball, it's their turn to talk. We can use a series of snaps and claps to get students' attention. They can snap along with you to your rhythm to let you know that they're ready. Using music and movement, having a song that you consistently play when it's time to transition, and when the music stops, you should be in your at your next center or ready for the next activity, or singing a short song that has movement that is a way just to do a little bit of a brain break and get ready to transition. So all of these activities are ways to get that dopamine and serotonin flowing, to get that prefrontal cortex engaged, and to get students ready to focus in on whatever you're getting ready to teach. Callbacks are another way to get students' attention, be a consistent signal that it's time to filter in. So just like I was talking about, snap to my rhythm or clap when I clap, you can use callbacks like you can see some of them listed there. Get it, got it. The teacher says, get it, got it. And the kids say, good. Or the teacher might say, no bees, no honey. And the kids say, no work, no money. So you can change up the callbacks on a regular basis. So that's a good example of what we were talking about with establish a predictable routine, but include some novelty. So you use callbacks on a regular basis, but you switch up what the callbacks are from time to time. Slant, the poster that you see to the right there is, this is what I expect when I do a callback. I expect you to slant. I expect you to sit up straight, to listen, to ask questions, nod your head, and track the speaker. I should see your eyes following me as I'm walking around and teaching. So just some ideas there for structure, and also to let students know to create patterns in your classroom where that prefrontal cortex knows it's time to listen in, it's time to pay attention. Also, looking at other ways to raise your hand to increase student participation. So just different ways to vary the ways that students volunteer. Also, these allow for wait time and allow students to answer in unison and give more students the opportunity to participate. It provides that novelty and promotes filtering in and increase of focus. So the very first one there in the bullet I use often is hands on your head. So I'll say, okay, what's 2 plus 2? If you have the answer in your head, put your hands on your head. Or if you have the answer, stand up or put both hands up. I've used stand in your chair. Works really well. I've used touch your shoulders, point to your brain, blow it into your hand, and then we on all of those, I count to 3. 1, 2, 3, and all of the students answer in unison. So when we blow it into our hand, we let the air go when we answer in unison. We put our hands on our head. We say, what's 2 plus 2? 1, 2, 3, and all the students say 4 at the same time. So, like it says in the bullets there, that wait time and also the responsibility of all students answering, not just one student raises their hand and you call on one student at a time, so that one student is actually having to do thinking at a time. If you change the way that students signal they know the answer and you give an opportunity to answer in unison, then all of your students are having to think much more often and are much more likely to be engaged, to be participating, and to be filtering in what you're teaching. Finally, time to talk. Talking in a classroom can be a huge obstacle. Giving students time to talk addresses talking as a behavior issue, which often distracts from learning, causes power struggles in the classroom, which creates that cortisol flow, which activates that amygdala and makes that emotional brain take over. Establishing turns to talk give direction for discussion, increase time on task, increase dopamine flow, and create transfer to long-term memory.